Hey out there, welcome to Before Tacky podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Alice Popoff from Effect Magazine, and we have a very special guest. He's a friend of mine. I met him at Milan Fashion Week Menswear. Brett Johnson, as you guys know, he makes these luxury menswear clothes, very gorgeous, very much an emphasis on fabulous materials. And we're going to talk to him today about his brand and what's going on in fashion. Okay, so let's get started. Alice, as you know, I always let the co-host start first. So throw out your first question.
Okay, Brett, great to see you. My first question is, first of all, what is your understanding of modern luxury in clothing?
Yeah, so for me, it's a balance of two things. So first, the most important thing is finding the proper materials. So for me, it's sourcing materials of the highest quality and separating yourself from the rest of the market to really find a white or black space in the market that doesn't exist. So, for example, typical luxury brands such as Loro Piana, Brioni, Kiton, they'll use a basic cotton, say for a t-shirt, whereas we use a Sea Island cotton, or for a PK, we'll use a cotton and silk blend. So there's never with us like a one-to-one comp, which I believe gives us a unique advantage and a unique vantage point in the marketplace. And not to mention, I mean, with the luxury materials, obviously you have to have the best manufacturing, and then from a design perspective, something a little bit more contemporary. Also, in luxury fashion, it's always rooted in classic silhouettes, but how do you update and modernize those silhouettes? So for me, it's all about the details that I add. The interior design is just as important as the exterior design. And I believe, I mean, from the unique stitching in our cuffs to the piping detail in our linings, uh, all these little details, unique stitches on our knitwear, like three-dimensional stitches. All these elements create a more modern feel to a luxury product. So you have all the classic elements from the make and the materials, but from a designer's perspective, that's what really gives us a different perspective.
Well, I'm going to follow up on that question because actually I had the same question also because you use a lot of leathers and like you said, a lot of luxury materials and fabrics. So do you source them like from Italy, for example, or you just go around the world and source
Nope. So
materials?
so so everything is from Italy. So we use all Kiriaji yarns, which are the best yarns in the world. So everything from Vicuña
Oh,
to baby cashmere, Sea Island cotton, a lot of blends as well. Bonaldo suede, which is a very famous tannery here in Italy. They specialize in a cashmere suede, which has this iridescent look, and it's all hand finished. So the only thing that we don't use that's not from Italy is a specific plongé, which is in France, and it's hand dyed,
oh.
and I mean truly feels like butter, and that's all they produce. This very specific plongé. The materials are truly exquisite.
Oh, it sounds really good. Sorry, guys, we had a bit of a technical problem. Maybe there's a connection problem somewhere, but definitely I'll put it in the transcripts. So don't worry. Alex, what's your question?
Who do you keep in mind as your consumer when creating a collection?
Well, first I start with myself because I feel as though obviously I'm the core demographic of who I'm trying to reach. You know, somebody that has the ability to travel the world and see different cultures, experience different cuisines, see different ways of dressing. So I always start with myself, but then always talk to the end consumer. So a lot of my friends who are clients and seek out what their needs are from now with working from home to a new way of dressing for the office, what they need to wear when they're going out for an event. Uh, so trying to take all elements of their lifestyle and implementing that into the collection. So I really want to listen to the feedback of the end consumer, because that then it gives me a clear direction of where I need to go with the collection. So I mean, it can be anything from wearing what you're wearing to walking your dog, date with your significant other, whatever the occasion may be. I want to think about all facets of your life.
Uh, Brett, I hope you're still there. Is everything okay? Can you hear me? Okay. Well, my question is, okay, Brett.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Brett, okay, I have a question for you. Now, the world is going more towards streetwear, wearing, I guess in a way, kind of dressing down, but in a luxurious way. But you went the opposite direction toward more tailoring, for example, a bit more classic. Now, tell me, why did you decide on that route? Uh-oh, Brett, we lost you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I here? Can you hear me now?
We're here. Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So for me, my reality growing up wasn't so much with streetwear. My dad wore Brioni, my mom wore Loro Piana, so that wasn't my experience. And I think streetwear has a certain shelf life. Obviously, there's anomalies such as Supreme, but that's one anomaly. I think if you look in the past 5 to 10 years, how many streetwear brands have come and gone, it's immense, right? And for me, as a Black designer, I've never seen a luxury Black fashion house. So for me, it's setting a new precedent in terms of being a Black designer and looking at a Black designer in a different light. Everybody wants to sort of pigeonhole you and say, oh, you're Black, so why don't you do streetwear? I want to truly transform that narrative and separate myself from the pack and create a luxury fashion house that will hopefully live on well after I'm gone, and have a legacy brand. Because I mean, if you look at Laura Piana, who's 100+ years old, or Brioni, who's 50-something years old, Brunello Cucinelli, 50-something years old, you have all these classical brands, but you don't have one that's minority owned and minority designed. So for me, it's I want to be hopefully an inspiration to others to go in this lane and try and elevate designer and not just be a streetwear designer.
Well, we could have a whole podcast on Black fashion designers and in the industry, but okay, let's move forward. Alex, what's your question?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say I just shared very important things. Massive respect to Brett from me. I'm a huge fan of your talent. Respect. So my question is, what kind of items do you like to create most of all?
What type of, sorry?
Yeah, what type of items
What type
do
of
you
items
like
do I
to
like to
create
create
most?
most of all?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think the strongest category in the collection is our outerwear, and the reason being is you can do so many different things with the outerwear. I think you're able to tell a more complete story versus a t-shirt or a polo, where it's a little bit more tricky to elevate and do too many details on a t-shirt per se. you know, the outerwear, you have the interior lining, interior pockets, pocket details on the exterior, the collar, the hem, the cuffs. You have so many different elements in which you can transform that can tell a cohesive story. And I think that for me is why outerwear is a key component to my brand and the item that I like to design the most.
Hmm. That's a good idea. That's a good thought. Okay, I wanted to ask you because we mentioned COVID earlier. Now, because of COVID, do you think our view of fashion has changed, and has your view of fashion changed because of COVID?
Because of COVID, you know, I think there was certainly a period where there's a work from home sort of mentality, and I think it will somewhat continue. COVID subsides, now knowing that people can be just as effective working from home as they can from the office, and I think companies will look at their overhead and realize, okay, maybe I can utilize this person just working from home, and it's going to now, what I'm doing with my spring summer 22 collection is we have to acclimate acclimate to both environments. So a home environment and then a work environment. So you'll find that balance in this collection. I think a lot of collections moving forward.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah. What's the first thing you spot when a person enters the room?
The first thing I spot, I always look at their eyes. I mean, I think obviously the eyes are key to the soul, and you can tell a lot by a person. I mean, the way in which they look at you and how they carry themselves. And I think obviously the second thing is their walk and their mannerisms. I think it really tell the characteristics of a person.
Hmm.
And what about the clothing?
And their clothing, I always look at their shoes. To be honest, I
Oh,
think footwear also
I think that's
is
an African
another
American thing.
Yeah.
is another key element in telling who a person is and how they carry themselves and how they treat themselves.
That's very true. I mean, because I have a lot of shoes, and you know, my friend, he doesn't understand why. You know, yeah, I told him if I have to get rid of the shoes and you, well, I like my shoes a lot. That's what
Yeah.
I said.
I,
Let me.
I, I have 900 pairs of shoes, so
Oh, see, I got to catch up.
it's certainly that I find imperative to a man's wardrobe.
See, I got to catch up with him then. Okay, I don't think I'll make the 900, but I'll give it a darn good try. Let me tell you. All right, let me ask you: are you planning on doing
Yeah.
any women's wear?
No women's wear for the moment. I think my main focus and what I feel as though that I'm good at is designing menswear. I think we see some crossover with women wanting to wear like some of our leisure wear. Like even my wife, she loves like our knitwear and like our hoodies and like sweatshirts that she can travel in. My mom, who used to buy Laura Piana, now wears like all of our knitwear, uses our luggage, uses
Oh,
our travel
really?
wear. So there's like this crossover that I see happening in the market, that women are starting to gravitate more towards like menswear, but obviously in smaller sizes, and that's becoming somewhat of a fashion statement, but nothing directly that I'm designing for women or getting into women's wear collections. No.
Oh, okay. Alex?
Yeah, modern man who travels a lot. What are his exact requirements to his wardrobe?
Exact elements to his wardrobe is certainly you have to have leisure wear for when you're traveling. for me, I think it's key, whatever the occasion may be, you have to have a blazer. So whether you're working from home, whether you're going to the office, I think that's paramount to any man's wardrobe. I love, for me, polo shirts are like a key driver, and then great outerwear pieces. Great outerwear pieces, and then obviously, as aforementioned, the footwear.
Footwear is very important. Like I said, it's a very American thing, especially with sneakers. Ooh, we can't even have that discussion. But let me ask you something. Accessories, because you also make bags. I remember at the presentation, you had a lot of bags. I think there was an ostrich skin bag, if I remember.
So we have crocodile.
Crocodile. Oh, okay. So tell us about that. Give us some little tips here.
Yeah. So
bright colors.
Yeah. So
crocodile and bright colors. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Crocodile and bright colors. I remember this.
Yes. So for me, bags are like another essential thing, and I don't know. For me, it's always been something that is emotional to me, whether it be in a backpack, a suitcase. I think those items have a special place just because they carry so many memories. Like when you're traveling, these are the items in which you're carrying with you when you're creating those memories. So that's why I feel as though the accessories play such a big role in complement to the rest of the collection, because they're the ones that really, transform and transcend what you're doing and where you're going, and they have a story within themselves of where you've been, what you've done, and accomplishments that you may have achieved in your life. So for me, it's always been something special, and I've honestly kept all of my bags, past luggage, past suitcases, just because of the memories that I've had with them. It's somewhat of an emotional experience, just like looking back and saying, hey, I traveled with my wife. This was like my first trip here. This is my first trip there. So that's why it's another special thing and something that's truly dear to me.
Do you have a lot of bags?
Do I? Yes.
Are we talking the same shoe?
I like throw everything around, but backpacks especially have played a key role in me building my brain. So all the backpacks in which I've utilized when developing this brand, I keep right in my closet.
Do you have a closet or a house for all these clothes? It sounds like you may have a separate house.
Yes, we just built a home, me and my wife. So we just moved out of New York and built a home in Virginia, where I'm from. And now I have a closet, a bigger closet, I should say, to put all my things.
Yeah, because you're like me with backpacks, but I stopped using backpacks after the bombings. When I was in Paris, I had a nice backpack, but I kept getting pulled over by the police and security people because I told them, do you know how much this backpack costs? Do you honestly think I'm going to carry a bomb in a backpack that costs this much money? So I literally just stopped carrying backpacks. And I love backpacks, but I had to stop just because I got sick of being pulled over by the police.
And it's funny that you say that, because I literally just had this discussion with my wife last night. I was like, should I continue to carry a backpack, or we also do a wonderful messenger bag?
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I should start carrying this messenger bag as my new backpack. So it's an interesting conversation, but
oh yeah, you wouldn't believe.
For right now, I still have my backpack in the line, but maybe when I get home, I might make the make the transition. So.
Yeah, I had to give it up because I was like, really, are we doing this again, people? I mean, do you not know brands? I mean, who would blow up a backpack that costs $300-400? This isn't a cheap Nike you buy for $20 somewhere. I'm not going to blow this up. Are you kidding? There's no way in hell. And I just gave up. I literally stopped buying backpacks. I just had to give them up. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think for those of us who are people of color, you would understand. Because I couldn't get into stores in Paris. It was just incredible. I said, oh, my God, please. I mean, look how old I am. I mean, I know black doesn't crap, but come on, people. You know? Yeah.
You look very young. So.
Yeah, thanks. But it was, don't even get me started about the airport with a backpack. Okay.
Yeah.